called as NEP 2020 policy. Okay. So this NEP 2020 policy, the committee was headed by K. Kasturi Rangan, and he prepared a draft, and that committee submitted the report on 31 May 2019, and it got approved by the cabinet on July 29, 2020. Okay. Whatever reformations and transformations are happening, they will happen at MHRD, and later it should be approved in the cabinet to have the transformation in the government policies. Okay. The next, over 2 lakh suggestions were received in favor and against the policies. So prior to the implementation of anything, there has to be some feedback. There has to be a feedback floated over. So around 2 lakh suggestions came in favor of and also against the implementation of NEP policies. Okay. So here the NEP says that the education system should be of the kind 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So what is that first 5? So the first 5 is divided into 3 years preschooling and 2 years class first and second. Okay. So preschooling like Anganwadi, or it may be Balavatika, like that. So it will start from the year 4. When you are 4, when a child is at the age of 4 years, he will be admitted to the preschooling. So he will undergo 3 years of preschooling, 4th, 5th and 6th. Then first and second will be 7th. When he is at the age of 7 and 8, he will be completing his first and second standards. Okay. Next. So this first 5 years is called as foundational stage. It is called as a foundational stage or preschool period. So 3 years of preschooling at the age group of 4, 5 and 6 years, and to be enrolled in play schools or in Anganwadis or Balavatika, and there is no exam. There is no exam at this stage. Okay. So there is no grading, there is no exam, they will be simply playing and gaining the knowledge, and there will be no uniform code. Okay, like how you are enjoying no uniform code, there also at that stage there is no uniform. Okay. Next 2 years will be, what you are doing? You listen also. Okay. So class first and second, next 2 years will be class first and second. At the age of group 7 and 8, it will be the first and second standard, and here also again there is no exams and no uniform code. Okay. Next. Then first is foundational stage. Next is called as preparatory stage. Next is called as preparatory stage. So this is also again 3 years. This is also again 3 years, and your examination will start. Okay. So here at the age of 9, 10 and 11. So this will be something like your 3rd standard, 4th standard and 5th standard. Okay. Then class 3rd, 4th and 5th. And here this will be activity based learning. Students are not just reading the textbook and they are mugging and they are putting it onto the examination. It will be different kinds of activities need to be performed, and the learning is graded. How the student is learning first week, then what is his level of performance in next week. So like that, based on the level of performance and level of learning, the student is graded. It's not like one student is scoring 90, say next student is scoring 89. So comparison will not be there. So grading will be done based on the performance of learning or level of learning. Okay. Then computer knowledge. So coding starts at the age of you go back, don't skip. Okay. So activity based learning. Then here preferable medium of instruction will be mother tongue, regional language and national language. So NEP mainly focuses on not only English, it mainly focuses on regional languages. I hope you might have heard the story of Akbar and Akbar Birbal. So there, if you are not, I think you know. There is one great Pandit visits Akbar. Then he will be having Pandit in all the languages. Then he posed a question to in Akbar Darbar, saying that can anyone Pandit in your Asthan can identify that which is my mother tongue? Do you know this story? You don't know because you are not attending. Okay, I will be telling that. So he posed a question like, you tell me the mother tongue of mine. Okay. He will be having Pandita in all the languages. So everybody tries and nobody will not be in a position to identify the mother tongue of that great Pandit. Then what this Birbal will do, he asks one day time, give me one day time. So in that one day time, I will find out which is his mother tongue. Then what he will do, he goes to the place where that Pandit was sleeping at the night. Then suddenly through window he pours some water on that Pandit. Then suddenly that Pandit he will speak in his mother tongue. It's quite natural. In whichever language you are gaining more knowledge, but your mother tongue will come as a first language from your mouth. So from that he identifies that which is his mother tongue. And the next day he comes to the Darbar and there he says, again he pretends as if he has not done that yesterday activity. And again some preparatory showing of that Pandit starts. Then Birbal says, your mother tongue is this language. Then later on Akbar asks, how could you do this? Then he narrates the story that he exhibited his activity. So our Indian MHRD, what is they are planning, whatever we learn in our mother tongue, whatever we learn in our mother tongue, that will be there in our mind forever. That will be there in our mind forever, so that the real thinking or real innovations, they will happen in our mother tongue. Now what we are doing, we are all, instead of eating like this, we are all eating like this. The learning system has become like that. Learning system has, why to learn English? Is it, are your thinkings happening in English only? I don't think so. Which is your mother tongue? Who is that? Yes? Let me know, because I want the clarity. Who is that yes fellow? When you are thinking something, are you thinking in English? I don't think so. You all will be thinking in your mother tongue. Whatever innovations or whatever thoughts, they will come to your mind. You all will be thinking in your mother tongue. Later on, it gets transformed to some language which is a medium of communication. That is my view. I hope this point is agreed by you people also. Yes or no?
No.
So real thinking will be in mother tongue only. You are all not, does your mother tongue is English? No. So our mother tongue, our real thinking happens in our mother tongue only, not in English. If you take the example of Japan or Chinese, are they learning English? All the innovations are done in their own language. They are learning even medical science, engineering in their mother tongue, not in English or some other language. That is why real innovations, our products, our inventions, they are happening, and we are all taking products of many Chinese, Japanese, like that. So real innovations are in mother tongue. So NEP focuses that mother tongue should be strengthened so that the real innovations happen. So that is why preferable medium of instruction, MOI, will be the mother tongue or regional language based on the region where we are staying. So it will be taught in regional language or maybe a national language. However, schools can teach in English language as well. Okay. It's not compulsory, but focus or stress is given more on the mother tongues or regional languages. Next. So middle stage. So 5 plus 3 is over. This is next 3. So next 3 is classes 6th, 7th and 8th. So here the age group, at the age group of 12, 13 and 14, it will be 6th, 7th and 8th. And computer coding will start. You will be learning the computer language at the age of your 6th standard only. Then vocational and technical education from class 6th. So vocationals means, what I mean by, what is the purpose behind vocational course means, it is mainly skill enhancement course. Nowadays, I think there is a lot of unemployability is there. Okay. So this unemployability is due to what? Due to lack of skills. Though you are graduate, though you are double graduate, but still you are not with the job. Why? Because you are not a skilled person. You are not a skilled person. So vocational course mainly focuses on enhancing the skill of the person. So even though you are not having any degree, if you are a skilled person, then there will not be a unemployability problem. You, with your skills, you can be a self-entrepreneur and you can earn your livelihood and you can give employability to others. So vocational course mainly focuses on enhancing the skill. Okay. Then one of the Indian languages to be taught at this stage, preferably Sanskrit, Mithali, Malayalam and Kannada. Okay. And 10 days internship program will be there in the curriculum. So internship means what? Internship is something, a facility wherein your hands-on or real learning will be there by focusing you guys to the outside world. So totally you will not be in the classroom, you will be at some other point or you will be with some hands-on session. So this internship is also giving you a way to learn more skill. So this is the 4th stage. 5 plus 3 is over. Next 3 is also over. This is 4th. So this is called as secondary stage. So at this you will be having class 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th and you will be in this age groups and the semester examination starts at this point. Okay. Then there will not be any stream. Now you people are learning like science stream is there. When you are PUC first and second year, you are going for science stream, then commerce stream, then arts stream, something like that. But at this age group, there will not be any streams. Okay, so no stream. Then multiple subjects. You will be learning many subjects. Then emphasis on critical thinking. The thinking and innovation should start at this age. And one of the foreign languages to be taught except this Mandarin. So anyone foreign language should be taught. Okay, next. This is your main focus, higher education. Now you people are in degree. So but all the degrees they will come under HEIs. So HEIs stands for Higher Educational Institutions. Okay. Now you are with the degree 4 years. Okay. So here there is one concept that is called as multiple entry and multiple exit. 5th one, multiple entry and multiple exit. So what do you mean by this multiple entry and multiple exit? Now you people after 12th you are entering into engineering and you are exiting only after 4 years. You are exiting only after 4 years. So now for you there is one entry and one exit. You are entering after 12 and you are exiting after the 4 years degree. But this multiple entry, multiple exit means what? Entry will be there. Okay, multiple entry and multiple exit. So because of that previous slide, that 4 year stage, at that stage there is no streams. So the boy learning with any stream can enroll into this 4 years degree and he can join, and after joining, after making an entry, he may learn 1 year and he may exit. He may learn and he may exit. Then nowadays what is happening? He is learning 1 year and he is exiting at that year, means it is something like disqualification. There is no degree awarded for it. But in order to safeguard the student that 1 year, what they are doing, if the student make an exit after completing 1 year, he will be given with one certificate. So it is something like the student has completed 1 year certification course and he is able to join some job after 1 year certification course. So he goes with some degree or with some certificate in his hand. Is it clear? Suppose if the student exit after completing 2 years, then he will be given with another certificate. That certificate is called as diploma. He is exiting after 2 years with diploma certificate in his hand. Means there is no loss for the effort of the student. He has studied for 2 years, right? So he should be with some diploma. So wherever some diploma jobs are there, he can go and enroll. Okay, that is there. Suppose he exits after 2 years and after some point of time, if he feels that I want to continue my degree, again he can come back. Again he can come back and rejoin the degree. That facility is there. And in order to complete your degree, how many credits you have to earn in order to complete your engineering degree? 160 credits. You have to earn 160 credits. Suppose say after first year, on an average, the student will be earning 100 credits. Okay, sorry, 50 credits. Will be earning 50 credits. Then by the time he goes for exiting the course after 2 years, he will be having diploma. Means he might have earned some nearly 100 credits. 100 credits would have been earned by a student. Then he exits after 3 or 4 years. He feels that I want to continue my say BA degree. Then he can again come back and he can take his enrollment in the 3rd year, and whatever credits he has earned when he has exited, so that will be saved. So that is called as credit bank. There will be a credit bank. So wherein the students' credits earned will be saved. So this is one of the concepts. So wherever you quit, there will be multiple exits will be there, but each of the exit will be awarded with some certificate. Okay. Then certificate after completing 1 year. Then after completing 2 years, there will be a diploma. Then bachelor's degree after completing 3 years. So you complete your 3-year degree. Okay. You are in the 3rd year and you want to quit. Then you will be quitting, but you will be having degree over there. You will be having 3 years degree over there. Suppose if you quit after 4 years, then it is called as multidisciplinary bachelor's degree. The 4th year will be mainly focused on only research work. The 4th year will be given main focus on research work. You should be involved in doing some kind of research. In previous stages and all, there is design thinking was there, there is a critical thinking was there was an internship. So all those activities were made, there was a vocational course. So these all courses will lead you to this final year, multidisciplinary bachelor's degree. So 4 years will be extensively, the 4th year will be extensively for the research purpose. Nowadays, what is there after 4-year degree? If you want to go for MTech, your MTech is 2 years. 4 year plus 2 years MTech, and after MTech you are going for the PhD degree. But here, after 3 years, and after 3 years you want to do PG, then you should do 2 years PG. Now, after 4 years, 2 years PG is there. Okay. So after 3 years, if you want to go for quitting, you can quit. But there, if you quit after 3 years, you will be having degree. And if you want to go for PG program, then it will be of 2 years. Okay. And suppose after completing your 4th year, you have completed all 4 years and you want to go for a PG program, then your PG program will not be 2 years. It will be a 1 year. So 4 plus 1 will be your PG degree. And if you go for 3 years, even after 3 years, you can go for PG. But now that facility is not there. Okay. So in this NEP 2020, they have given that option. Okay. That is what is multiple entry and multiple exit. You can exit any time. You can exit any time and you can again come back and you can continue your education. The ABC academic bank of credits. So in each of the student name, the credits earned by the student at each level of exit will be retained and he carries that with him. Okay. Next. Then master's program at PhD. Duration of 1 or 2 years. Okay. 2 years for those who have completed 3 years bachelor degree and 1 year for those who have completed 4 years multidisciplinary bachelor's degree. And there is integrated 5 years bachelor's and master's program, and MPhil is discontinued. Okay, there was MPhil program, now that program is not there. Okay, however, there will be MTech and PhD will be for 4 years. Then undertaking a PhD shall require either a master degree or a 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor's degree. Nowadays, what is happening? You are completing 4 years degree. After that, 2 years master. Then you are going for PhD. But now, after 4 years, you can directly go to PhD because 4th year is taken as a purely research year. 4th year is taken as a multidisciplinary research year. So immediately after completing your 4th year, you can go to the student can go for enrolling the PhD. So bachelor's in education. This is not of your concern, but however, for the knowledge sake, if anybody is there interested to do B.Ed, then after 12, again it is treated as a degree course. Like after 12th also you can enroll for B.Ed. B.Ed is a course of 4 years. Earlier it was a course of 1 year or 2 years. Now 3-4 options are there. You can join for B.Ed immediately after 12 years. It is treated as a 4-year degree course. Then B.Ed will be for 2 years. If you want to enroll for B.Ed after your 3rd year graduation. After 3 years you will quit, no? So that time you can go for 2 years B.Ed course. Okay. Then it is for 1 year B.Ed. So those who want to do B.Ed after 4th year they can enroll for B.Ed. So many options have been given. So I think you might be having some knowledge of this B.Ed. B.Ed is totally what you can say activity based kind of thing. They will be going for giving some training. B.Ed is totally a training kind of thing. Okay. So more activity based learning will be there at the B.Ed. But however, there will be an entrance exam for the B.Ed, which is conducted by NTA, National Testing Agencies. Then from 2030, there will be a minimum degree qualification. So quality universities and colleges. So NEP demands that at least there should be one university in every district which will support the multidisciplinary. It will see that there will be at least one multidisciplinary university will be established in each and every district. That is the aim of NEP. And the current gross enrollment ratio is 26.3 as per the survey made in 2018. So the aim of NEP is to raise that 26.3 to 50% by 2030. By 2030, it is aiming that at least there should be 50% of the enrollment ratio should be there. Everybody means the main aim here is to enhance the literacy rate. Enhance the literacy rate from 26% to 50%, almost double. Okay. Then moving towards more multidisciplinary undergraduate education and institutional autonomy and national research foundation. So now you are studying in autonomous college. You are studying in autonomous college. So what do you mean by autonomous college? So autonomous college will be having more autonomy, more freedom in making some changes. In affiliated college, what will happen? Our college was earlier affiliated to VTU Belgaum. So therein all the board of studies discussion will be done by the people in the university, and whatever syllabus they will be framing, we will, since we are affiliated college, we will be following the curricula that is proposed by the university. But when the institution becomes autonomous, it will be having its own BOS. It will be having its own board of studies. It can take its discussions, keeping in mind of feedback from its alumni, from their parents, and based on suggestions given by students, it can modify its syllabus. It can modify its syllabus, and it can make some transformations in its way of conducting examination. Such transformations can be brought in if you are an autonomous institute. So the aim of the NEP is to make all the institutions of the type autonomous. And so it is mainly focusing on three kinds of HEIs. NEP says that there should exist three types of higher educational institutions. They should either support only research, then universities which are focusing on teaching, and universities autonomous degree granting colleges. Three kinds of HEIs will be identified. Research intensive universities, the universities wherein only the research activity or more focus is on the research. Your IITs, all our IITs, NITKs, there the more focus will be on research. Okay. Then teaching intensive universities, those who place greater emphasis on teaching but still conduct significant research. Second, HEI is pertaining to teaching learning. More focus will be just given on the learning aspect, not on the research. Third will be autonomous degree granting colleges, primarily focused on undergraduate degrees. Okay. Third will be just an degree granting colleges. They are not giving more emphasis on either research or the teaching learning. It can be anything of the kind. Stage-wise mechanism of granting graded autonomy. So this is all I have explained. The last one is institutions will have the option to run open distance learning and online programs provided they are accredited. Now we say that there has to be benchmarks for everything. There has to be benchmark. We are saying that we are doing that, we are doing this, but are you really doing that? So that kind of inspection should happen. So there are bodies like NIRF, National Institutional Granting Framework. So what it will do, it will measure. Now you might have heard that that university is in the first place, IITs are in the first place, then NITs are in the second place, then next comes our central universities, next comes under this private college. Like that there will be a ranking. So there is a system called NIRF and QS ranking. So what these universities will do, they will give the grading for the systems based on the features like what is the infrastructure available over there, and what is the student teaching learning ratio, then what is the placement ratio, so what is the research ratio, how many patents are being published by students, how many patents are being published by faculty members, then what ratio of faculty members are involved in research kind of thing. So there will be some metrics or rubrics, they all will be measured, and based on that grading or ranking will be provided for the institutions. Okay. Suppose if you would like to go for some ODL course, ODL is an open distance course. I cannot suddenly start to ODL course at my institute. So I has to have the prior permission from my competent authority. Now for all the technical education, the competent authority will be AICTE. Then for all non-technical, UGC is a competent authority to grant the permission. Now support for institutions will be made to run these open distance learning courses, provided they are provided with all the facilities and permissions from the higher competent authorities. So by next 15 years, this affiliation system will go off. So all the HAIs will be becoming the autonomous, and they will be framing their own syllabus, okay, in accordance with the market as per the demand. So model public universities for holistic and multidisciplinary education at par with IITs, IIM, etc. And they are called as MERU, Multidisciplinary Education and Research Institutes. I said at least every district should possess one MERU kind of universities. NEP focuses on establishing multidisciplinary universities. Next. Choice. Now already you are learning choice-based credit system. Moreover, implementation of this CBS system with transdisciplinary as well as multidisciplinary. Now suppose you should like to learn some law course when you are in the second year or the third year. That time also you can go and learn in other stream. So that now whatever you are in the technical, and if you want to go for other technical domain, you can learn. That is called as multidisciplinary. And if you like to go for some other domain other than technical, then comes under the transdisciplinary. You can also enroll for such courses. Again, there you will be earning some credit. Again, that credit will be part of your credit bank. Okay. And suppose at some point of time you feel that you should go to foreign universities and you should learn some credits. So that facility is also there. So under the concept of internationalization, there will be a student and faculty exchange program wherein students from one university can come over to India and they can learn here and they can earn the credits. And again similarly, the students from here, they can go to the other universities and they can earn some credits, and that credit will be part of your total academic bank credit, and degree will be awarded. Okay. Next. So this is what is regarding internationalization. Student exchange program will be there. People can go there and earn credit, and same can be vice versa. So credits acquired in foreign universities will be permitted wherever appropriate as per the requirement of each higher education institutions, and it will be counted for the award of the. So moreover, whenever we are saying that there has to be transformations, the transformations has to be brought even with the faculty also. The faculty members also should be enhanced with their skills in order to teach the students. So this is what is motivated, energized and capable faculty. Energized faculty should be appointed in order to bring out the transformation into the educational policies. So excellent faculty should be there, and teacher or faculty should be given freedom because they will be having multiple ideas. So because of the affiliated system, they will be stuck up and they will be following the old pedagogy. So that they should come out of that and they should have the transformation. So teachers also should be given such freedom. Okay. Next. So national accreditation concept. Okay. I just said that there will be various bodies will be there. So they will be measuring the metrics, how well you are, how well the institution should be for giving a grade. So there will be a body like this, and those bodies will be giving the accreditations and permissions for maintaining the standardizations. So various bodies are there, like GC is there, NSQF is there. So they all will be measuring the quality of the institutions for the purpose of accreditation.